This is Eye on Africa on France 24. Good evening. The headlines tonight. Doctors Without Borders confirm 5 of its staff members have been released in Nigeria. This 5 weeks after they were kidnapped in neighbouring Cameroon. France 24 on the ground in Niger. We investigate the growing crisis of child malnutrition. This in a country where millions are going hungry. And with the draw now complete for the 2022 World Cup, might this be the year an African side reaches beyond the quarterfinals? Some analysis coming up in the show. It's good to have you with us. We're starting the programme this hour with the news that 5 employees of Doctors Without Borders who were kidnapped in Cameroon in February have now been released. The group was seized in the far north of the country, close to the borders of both Chad and Nigeria. And indeed, Médecins Sans Frontières have confirmed that those employees were freed inside Nigerian territory. It is a region where Boko Haram are known to operate, but Cameroonian authorities say it's not clear who was behind this latest incident. With more details, here's our correspondent Claudia Sono, who's reporting from Yaoundé.
5 Doctors Without Borders employees kidnapped in northern Cameroon over a month ago have been released in neighboring Nigeria, the French charity said on Thursday. The 5 workers were seized in Fotokol on February 24 after armed men broke into a building used by Doctors Without Borders. Without revealing so much about the circumstances surrounding their release, Doctors Without Borders told AFP in an email that the former hostages had been taken to a safe place. There were 3 aid workers and 2 security guards of Cameroonian, Chadian, Senegalese and French Ivorian nationalities. Well, just a little bit of background here. Fotokol is situated in northern Cameroon, and jihadist groups like Boko Haram and the Islamic State West Africa province regularly attack civilians and soldiers in the region. At least 6 Cameroonian soldiers were killed after Boko Haram attacked a military post in September 2019. And by August of 2021, at least 26 Chadian soldiers had been killed by insurgents in the Lake Chad region. So following this recurrent deadly attacks by the 2 jihadist groups, countries in the area decided to form a joint military force, which includes soldiers from Cameroon, from Chad, from Nigeria, and from Niger. But as we can see, this unfortunately hasn't stopped the deadly attacks from occurring.
It's Claudia Sono reporting for us there. Next, we're zooming in on the food crisis in Niger, one of the poorest countries in the world. Millions of people there do not have enough to eat every day, and it is a crisis being exacerbated by conflict and by climate change. Our team in Niger have been investigating child malnutrition in particular, and they've sent us this report from the capital, Niamey.
At the Boubacar Diallo National Hospital, the infant malnutrition department is running in overdrive. A combination of the effects of COVID-19, a severe drought in 2021 and the worst harvest in 5 years have seen cases of undernutrition skyrocket.
He is my grandson. We gave him biscuits, for example, but the child can't eat them. Doctors told me to feed him, but he vomits everything up.
Doctors say that as well as aid, parents need to know more about what makes a balanced diet.
Sortati. Sortati.
Taking care of an undernourished child is not just giving him milk. When we give milk, it is for the child to recover and treat the complications. On the other hand, our main work is to give nutritional advice to make sure the child doesn't end up malnourished again.
Many communities in rural areas have limited access to this kind of vital information. Here in Malokwara, the NGO Karkara has given these women a lecture on how to prepare nutritious meals and minimize waste.
You should not make a lot, because the child will only eat a little. You prepare what he is able to drink until he's full.
Addressing the country's precarious food security remains a priority. The World Food Programme has warned that parts of the Sahel face a horrendous crisis. In Niger, by next June, more than 3.5 million people could face critical food shortfalls.
Now, environmentalists in Libya are voicing their concerns about the future of an island off its west coast, once famed for its exceptional wildlife. No humans live there, but it is home to plenty of birds, fish and turtles. However, the experts say they are under threat from pollution, climate change and illegal fishing.
This uninhabited island off Libya's northwestern coast is home to exceptional wildlife. But Farah Island risks becoming another victim of lawlessness as war continues in the North African nation. Archaeologist Chauki Moama has come to know the island well, drawn by its Roman history. But now, the future of the island is what concerns him and environmental activists.
The truth is that this island has been exposed to many environmental threats for over the last 30 or 40 years. They closed the Al Kharij Lake to build the Abu Kamash factory, which is considered an environmental disaster for the area.
A petrochemical plant was dumping heavy metals into the waters for years. It has been closed, but the toxic waste lingers. Above all, intensive and unregulated fishing is a major concern. There is a legal framework to regulate these activities, but power struggles in the country have got in the way of controlling fishing. Local groups are trying their best to limit the damage.
The lake has been closed and we asked the Libyan authorities to open and restore it at its original location and state. There have been efforts from some groups to save this island through cleaning and raising awareness.
Former strongman Colonel Muammar Gaddafi launched a project in 2005 to build a luxury resort on Farah Island. The only structure that stands from this incomplete project is a land bridge that blocks sea currents and pollutes the water. While Libya grapples with political instability and poor law enforcement, this island's future remains dim.
Now, if you are a football fan, it won't have escaped your notice that the draw for the 2022 World Cup was held today. And there are 5 African teams in the competition: Tunisia, Morocco, Cameroon, Ghana and AFCON champions Senegal. So might this be the year an African side makes it to the semi-finals for the first time, or perhaps even further? And why has such success in the competition eluded African football in the past? Those are questions I put to African football specialist Ed Dove a bit earlier.
I think there have been lots of different factors throughout history that have played a part in that. One of the issues which is to be addressed ahead of the next World Cup is the quota, the number of African teams that can compete in a tournament. Because now African teams have 5 places, but in the past when they've only had 1 or 2 spots, it has been tricky for them to make an impact. I think also logistics, planning, stability. I think some of the issues that affect African national teams in general throughout the course of a football cycle can certainly affect them when it comes to the World Cup and when it comes to playing against the world's top teams.
Would you say that Senegal is the continent's best chance at this year's World Cup, given that the Lions of Teranga are this year's champions of Africa?
Yeah, absolutely. Senegal are coming off the back of a strong Africa Cup of Nations, their first ever continental crown. They followed that up by dispatching Egypt and Mohamed Salah, the continent's best player in the playoffs. And they're a nicely balanced team, a very strong, rugged defence, a very combative midfield. And of course, in Sadio Mane, they have one of Africa's star men. And what we learned today is they have a very favourable group. And I'm confident that they're going to reach the knockout stages and maybe further this time around.
Just finally, there are several major African sides who are missing from this year's World Cup lineup. That includes Egypt, Algeria, Nigeria. You touched on some of that unfairness in the way that the draw works. Talk us through why it is we're not seeing those sides in this competition. What went wrong for them?
Well, for each of them, it's a slightly different problem, really. There are certainly controversial factors around Egypt's elimination at the hands of Senegal. The match in Dakar, the second leg, was blighted by lasers being shone in the eyes of Egyptian players, by bottles being thrown at Egyptian players by Senegalese supporters, something that needs to be looked at. For others, it's the competition for places. I mean, we saw Ivory Coast give France a good run for their money in the friendly recently at the Stade Velodrome in Marseille. But with only 5 places, Cameroon eliminated Ivory Coast. It was a tough run for the Elephants to face the indomitable Lions. And it's this competition which means that African teams are very short of places when it comes to the World Cup.
Ed Dove speaking to me there. Now, we end the programme with a little culture because a Picasso exhibition is opening its doors in Dakar, Senegal this Friday. It showcases dozens of works by the Spanish artist himself, alongside many pieces from across the African continent that are likely to have inspired him. The exhibit then paying homage to Picasso's interest in African art, as the show's curator told France 24.
C'était à la fois une source d'inspiration pour lui, mais c'était également une source de réflexion, de déconstruction d'un certain nombre de certitudes pour arriver véritablement à une production aussi prodigieuse que celle que nous montrons ici à Dakar.
And that exhibition runs until the end of June, so one to check out if you are in Dakar. And that's it for this Eye on Africa show. Thank you for watching, and do stay with us here on France 24.